wrestling, gumbo to grits, politics to poetry, and all things Southern in between, this is Take on the South. Produced by the Institute for Southern Studies in the McCausland College of Arts and Sciences at the University of South Carolina, Take on the South explores the highs and lows of the American South, examines the truth and fictions of the country's most distinctive region, and picks the brains of some of its most accomplished students. To understand the South, you need to take it on, and that's what we'll be doing. Join us as we take on the South.
Hi, welcome to this mini-series of Take on the South entitled Southern Sounds of Celebration. This is the first of 5 shorts that focus on the Worm Gruntin Festival down in Sopchoppy, Florida. I, your host Emily Allen, had the pleasure of attending the festival in April 2025, so these 5 episodes will capture the experience of attending the festival, focusing especially on the role of music and tradition. The footage you see will also be overlaid with interview excerpts from experts on Worm Gruntin and participants of the festival to talk about the role of music in the event. So let's dive in and start with some thoughts from Worm Grunter musician and content creator DJ Butch.
Worm grunting is a vibration, and the vibration comes from, I actually brought the iron and stop to show you.
Cool.
This is the stop, and it's carved from like hardwood, like sweet gum, black gum, persimmon. And then the iron, it's heavy, it's right here. And this usually can be a leaf spring off an old vehicle. And this one's have a handle grinded down. But what happens is the stop is knocked into the ground and the iron's rubbed across it. And this makes vibrations. And the vibrations mimic a mole digging in the ground, which makes the worm surface. And I believe that music is all about vibrations, your bass line and things like that. And we hope to explore that. I have used it a little in music, but we hope to explore that even more and do some recording of several legends around, kind of like a drum circle, but with worm grunting, and get a good bass line and then bring it in the studio and see what we can create. So I'm excited about that. We're talking about me. I uploaded worm grunting to TikTok, and I went viral. Like, I got 2 videos over 7 million and 15 over 1 million, or 16 over 1 million. So that's really helped the festival and helped the whole culture and everything. So that's another thing. I'm a content creator on top of the music and hosting and DJing too. Well, it's really special to me because I'm from here and it's part of our culture. So we're getting an opportunity to show people from all over the world what we do and how we do it, and get to display exactly how we do it. The kids get to have fun. It's just all around amazing to me, and we really enjoy it. It's a full day of fun, like from music to food to vendors to local arts and crafts to it's just amazing. A lot of people are just amazed with the whole process, and they come and they just blown away, just kind of like the internet too. It's just attracts people. It's different, and Florida's labeled to being weird, and people love it. They love it. Same, thing, but it's done differently. Some people do 2 sticks with notches in it with fiddling, and then some people use all kind of different things. I've heard put a chainsaw on the ground, and different things. But Sopchoppy's special because it's a very low-lying area. And so the soil is just amazing. And so it makes a perfect place for worms. And this has been done for generations and generations. I don't even know how far back it goes. When I was very young, I was taught, and I'm passing it on to my kids. So I don't know if it's Native American or I don't know where it came from, but we're always taught, like, this is how you get your bait and before you go fishing. And so it's just been a part of the culture here. And I just think our soil is very perfect for the worms.
Do a little demonstration. I'm going to take a piece of iron, a wooden stake, and we're going to try to get some of these worms out of the ground. Ready? Woo!
Show them how it's done, Snap.
I'm going to try a new spot.
on. We gotta bring the true legend out. There's so many publications, I can't even name them all, y'all. From Dirty Jobs on Discovery Channel to so many things. Mr. Gary, come out here and show them how it's really done. Y'all give it up for the legend. Oh yeah. I mean, it went viral grunting worms, but these guys here are the true legends.
Yeah, so I'm sort of on the fence between biology and neuroscience. So I'm really interested in animal senses and I'm interested in how they evolved. And I'm particularly interested in unusual and mysterious animals and unusual and mysterious behaviors. So I love a biological mystery, and that definitely relates to the worm grunting and the Worm Gruntin Festival. Related to that, one of the most interesting things I read was one of Darwin's very obscure, less known books about the way that earthworms form vegetable mold. And it's an entire book on earthworms. And in that book, Darwin actually says that it has often been stated or observed that worms will come to the surface in response to vibrations, and this is said to be because they're trying to avoid their arch enemy, the mole. So there's this ancient, not totally ancient, but old clue of that moles and worms may have this interesting relationship, but nobody had actually formally studied it. So I heard about the Worm Grunting Festival, and I thought, wow, what if what's going on down in the southeastern United States is sort of what Darwin described? And it seemed like the perfect place to go down and explore that further. So one of the first things to know or wonder about when you think about whether this possibility could be true, that moles in that area are causing this response, is, are there moles in that area? And if there are moles in that area, you know, what species are they? How many are there? That sort of thing. So that was the first question I really had. Like, if moles are causing worms to come to the surface, there's got to be moles around there. So I drove down there not knowing how many would be there. So, you know, one of the things I'll say is like, if you took a range map for, say, bluebirds and said, oh, they're in Tennessee where I live, what are the chances of me finding a dense pocket of bluebirds in any given place, you know? So certainly there are moles that cover that territory in the southeastern United States, but that doesn't answer the question of whether there's lots of them and whether they're specifically in the areas where worm grunters do their worm grunting. So I drove down there and drove to the Apalachicola National Forest, and I didn't even have to get out of my car before I knew that there were tons of moles because, as I mentioned before, I kind of ended up being a mole expert because of this one other project. I know exactly what mole tunnels look like. And there were mole tunnels crossing the dirt roads in the Apalachicola forest like crazy. And you have to also know that dirt roads aren't a great place to build a tunnel because cars are constantly going over it. So if they're building their tunnels across the dirt roads, then there are definitely a lot of moles. And I did start to quantify that. And I'll just say you can't swing a worm grunting stick in the Apalachicola National Forest without hitting a mole tunnel. They're all over the place, overlapping where the worm grunters do their grunting.
Yeah, that totally makes sense to just kind of like establish, like you're talking about, like in terms of place and building that connection further. So once you kind of figured out there were moles in that area, did you try recording like molding sounds to experiment with that? What was sort of
Yeah. So there's also the same species where I live in Tennessee. So it's a little easier for me to do it actually closer to home. But what I did was I got geophones, which will measure ground vibrations very sensitively. You know, you might be listening, typically a geologist might be using this to detect a faraway earthquake. I was using them to detect very close earthquakes, which were the miniature vibrations caused by moles digging. And moles have super powerful forelimbs. So for sure, like I will tell you that if you're quiet next to a mole standing still, you can hear it digging and breaking roots. And I have definitely found moles that way, like just heard, oh, there's a mole here, and looked around and it's expanding a tunnel somewhere. So they make vibrations in the ground, and I did, in fact, record the details of those vibrations. And these low-frequency vibrations, as it turns out, I also, of course, recorded the vibrations caused by worm grunters. And there is a very nice overlap between the vibration frequency of a worm grunter and the vibration frequency of a digging mole. So the plot was thickening and everything was sort of adding up to this seeming like a good explanation for what was going on.
Down south on Grand in the land. Building the borders in the house of the sand. High as a yellow fire, cool as a fan. Raised right here where I became a man. Like that fire, I'm in the studio. Yeah, I'm country, that's all I know.
In the meantime, about 3 years ago, I was involved with a group called Discover Sopchoppy. We started up this group to help run some festivals and markets and just kind of get people interested in highlighting and supporting our little city. So we were involved in that, and we've been doing a few other festivals, not quite as large and as the Worm Grunting, but they came to us and asked us if we would like to take it over. So we did, and that was in 2022. So we have done 20, 22, 23, and 24, and now this year is the biggie, with 25. So we're trying to make a big deal out of it, and it's been a little overwhelming, but a lot of fun because it is such a unique situation here with worm grunting and families still supporting themselves with it. And there's still a real culture of that festival. So many people have been to it, and every year it gets larger and larger.
Thanks for listening and watching part 1 of this 5-part series on the Worm Gruntin Festival. Take a look at part 2 next, which dives into some of the vendors and promotional elements of the festival.
That was our take on the South. Let us know yours. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at U of SC South. Be sure to click and subscribe. Take on the South is produced by the Institute for Southern Studies and the McCausland College of Arts and Sciences at the University of South Carolina. Special thanks to Professor Dave Garner of the University of South Carolina School of Music for composing our soundtrack. Tune in next time for another Take on the South.